Coming up, green energy solutions demand new mining, and that has some tribes facing difficult choices. Plus, a legendary lacrosse stick maker has journeyed on, and we meet a new member of the ICT reporting team based in South Dakota. I'm Amelia Chavez. Join us for those interviews, plus headlines from the ICT Newscast.
This program is made possible by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, a private corporation funded by the American people.
Arizona State University welcomes 3,500 indigenous students from Arizona and across the nation. It serves one of the largest populations of indigenous students among U.S. colleges and universities. We created a sense of place for tribal nations to create futures of their own making through community outreach and research, taught by world-class indigenous faculty where they see a reflection of themselves and their experiences. Find community at ASU.
Amadawa Hopa, thank you for joining us. We start today in Oceanside, California, where a missing 14-year-old Native American girl was located at Camp Pendleton in an alleged sex trafficking case. A family spokesperson says their young relative, who was missing for 2 weeks, was allegedly raped by a Marine on the military base. According to the San Diego County Sheriff's Department, the girl was reported missing by her grandmother on June 13th. A video posted on TikTok by the girl's aunt, Cassandra Perez, confirmed her niece's indigenous heritage and that the child has a learning disability. Perez says she disappeared from her home on June 10th and wasn't found until June 27th. She was discovered by police at the military base located north of San Diego. At this time, it is unknown if the Marine who was taken into custody for the child rape allegation has been released. Officials say the 14-year-old has since been returned home. No identities have been announced as the case is still under investigation. There is a new bill being championed by Democratic and Republican members of Congress that would improve processes for hiring tribal police. The Parity for Tribal Law Enforcement Act would authorize officers under a 638 contract to be considered federal law enforcement provided they meet certain qualifications for it. This would eliminate the need for tribes to enter into a special agreement currently required for this change. There are many advantages to being considered a federal officer, including benefits on injuries, death, retirement, and pensions. Currently, tribal officers are not eligible for these federal programs. Tribal leaders and Native organizations in Washington state say they strongly support this legislation, saying it will ultimately help make Native communities safer. The legislation was introduced in the House by Republican Representatives Dan Newhouse and Derek Kilmer, as well as Democrat Sharice Davids of the Ho-Chunk Nation. A similar bill was introduced in the last Congress but did not gain any traction. In Alaska, an animal that is crucial to the economy of a rural village is missing by the billions. In St. Paul, Alaska, climate change has resulted in the loss of the snow crab fishery industry for the city. Back in October of 2022, the Alaska Department of Fish and Game canceled the snow crab season in the Bering Sea for the first time due to its immense population loss. According to a department report, the annual survey for snow crab numbers revealed an almost total loss in population due to extended spikes in ocean temperatures. That wasn't good news for the economy of St. Paul, where the city tax revenue went from $2.5 million to only $200,000. This community has an 80% Aleut population that depends on the income to sustain themselves. According to officials, the city has a year's worth of reserves to fund municipal services before they will need to look at other options to sustain their economy. St. Paul has already been approved for federal disaster relief and in wake of the snow crab collapse, but has yet to receive the funding. A Rosebud Sioux citizen is being elevated in the financial sector. Dawson Her Many Horses has been named Managing Director at Wells Fargo. It marks a rare moment for an Indigenous person to be promoted to such a position at a major U.S. bank. Her Many Horses was also selected to this year's Finance Leaders Fellowship put on by the Aspen Institute. He first joined the company in 2018 to rebuild its Native American outreach. Then in 2021, he was promoted to the company's head of Native American commercial banking. Well, thousands of Native people are descending on Phoenix, Arizona for a major youth basketball tournament. The Native American Basketball Invitational, nicknamed NABI, is back to kick off its 20th year. The tournament will feature over 114 boys and girls teams from over 120 tribal communities, and they are traveling from all over Indian country. A total of 428 basketball games will be hosted for NABI attendees to enjoy, ending with the championships on July 23rd at Footprint Center, which is where the NBA's Phoenix Suns play. At that event, Milwaukee Bucks small forward Marjon Beauchamp will hand out the championship trophies to the winning team. He is African American and a descendant of the Lahula Band of Louis Sueño Indians. For more information on game schedules and locations, you can visit nabination.com. And those are the headlines for the ICT Newscast. Here on the ICT Newscast, we often report on the costs of moving to clean energy while respecting tribal sovereignty. I spoke to ICT's Mark Trahant about this for his latest reporting. Many of the minerals that are required for the energy transition are located on Indigenous lands, and the mining industry has a long history of failing to respect community interests, destroying sacred sites, and forcing displacement. So many wonder, will this time be different? ICT's editor-at-large, Mark Trahant, has been looking into this and joins me now in the studio. Mark, tell us what you've learned.
This is such an interesting moment in history because some tribes are facing some really difficult choices. Do you mine lithium or copper on your lands in order to have EVs running around on street corners? Or do you say, no, we've not got a great record with the mineral industry and we don't want to do it this way? So coming up with new solutions is really going to be the key to this. These days, this is a familiar scene. Dozens of humming giants creating electricity out of the wind. The idea here is clean energy, but it also presents a problem for tribal communities. These giant windmills might look white, but they're really copper. In fact, one windmill represents about 4.7 tons of copper and another 700 pounds of rare earth minerals. On top of that, we need more copper to build new electric lines because the ones we have now are not designed to carry clean energy. Recently, the Aspen Institute released a report calling on Congress to adopt a strategic minerals policy. This is important because the mining industry and governments have to sell the idea that this time it's different. This time, the industry will respect cultural and religious sites. This time, the industry will clean up its own mess. And this time, it will reward tribal communities as owners instead of serving up resources as colonies. Why would anyone believe that? Heidi Heitkamp is a former Democratic senator from North Dakota.
The question is, how likely is it that we can hit a reset button? Especially with Indigenous populations. Because the history is not good. The history from the very beginning with colonization and leading to exploitation, putting people on reservations, then leading to exploiting people. And when you find minerals, say, step aside, and you look at the Black Hills. Black Hills, no one had any interest in until they found gold and literally violated the Laramie Treaty. And people don't want to hear that, but that's the truth. And so what about today would tell anyone that it was going to be different tomorrow?
The Aspen Institute says it's time for Congress to clarify and enforce the rights of Indigenous people when it comes to mining. The task force recommendations include free, prior, and informed consent, and tribal nations might consider project equity. That will help boost U.S. critical mineral policy in a manner that is economically, environmentally, and socially responsible, Aspen said. A second recommendation calls for Congress to fund technical and financial resources for tribes to evaluate and consider mining projects, including ownership. The First Nations Major Projects Coalition in Canada is a model. Aspen says that 27 nations have joined together to access capital and technical expertise in Canada, and the goal would be for tribal nations in the U.S. to be full partners, even owners, giving them a seat at the table for making decisions about what is developed. Colette Brown Rodriguez, Confederated Tribes of Salish Kootenai, has a background in mining and finance. She serves on the board of directors for Apollo Silver. She says mining decisions are incredibly complex, and tribal nations need more experts to be better informed.
They're bringing those experts to First Nations to help them review and really be a part of the projects. Then we're trying to bring this very complex, whether it's renewable energy or mining projects, and like, look at this, tell me what you think. And they're like, they don't have engineers, they don't have hydrologists, they don't have the specialized people to really give them the good feedback. So then what ends up happening in our mining space, we tend to hit the easy button. It's all supply chain economics. And that's kind of why I went back to get my MBA, because I love mining and I love renewable energy, but I wanted to understand how the world system works with all these different commodities.
She suggests we think about a grocery store.
I'm hoping that those of us, especially in the renewable energy space, are going to become more willing to look at the reality of the need for critical minerals and how can we all start working together to make things, I think, a little bit more, acceptable. And I think it's kind of like the disconnect from nature. So as Indigenous people, you knew where a lot of your stuff came from, right? Your food, your clothing, and that's why you prayed for the buffalo or prayed for the deer, because you were taking something. But right. In our society now, we go to Walmart, our beef's in plastic. You don't even think about all the environmental impacts it took to get that beef wrapped in styrofoam at Walmart. Same thing with our clothes. Everything around us we're just it's all about convenience. It's not about what are our decisions making long term and for the things around us. And same thing with minerals.
The White House has put a number on the minerals that we need for an energy transition. As the world transitions to clean energy economy, global demand for these critical minerals is set to skyrocket by 400 to 600% over the next several decades. And for minerals such as lithium and graphite used in electric vehicle batteries, demand will increase by even more, as much as 4,000%. And about a third of those minerals are located on or near tribal nations. I'm Mark Trahant, ICT News.
The sport of lacrosse has an Indigenous origin story. The game dates back to the 19th century when Haudenosaunee athletes played the game, some of them lasting days at a time on a field that was miles long. An integral part of the game of lacrosse is the significance behind a seemingly ordinary wooden stick. But no one knows that better than Alf Jocks, who spent his whole life becoming a master of the sacred stick-making craft. For over 50 years, Alfred Jocks handmade over 80,000 lacrosse sticks that are used around the world. He made it a mission to preserve these traditional practices after learning it at age 12 from his father. Jocks was often called a national treasure of the Haudenosaunee, and on top of stick making was also a lacrosse player, coach, father, and mentor to many. Jocks earned many accomplishments in his life, including being inducted into the Canadian Lacrosse Hall of Fame and the Upstate Lacrosse Foundation Hall of Fame as well. In June 2023, Alf Jocks died from a decade-long battle with kidney cancer. His legacy continues to be honored, including through one short film called The Stick Maker by Frameline Productions and Style and Strings Lacrosse. It portrays Jocks and his art, his craft, and his way of life as nostalgic and true to form as possible.
Everybody who plays lacrosse should know where the game came from. This game was given to our people by the Creator. It's part of who we are as a people. In this stick is the energy from that live tree. That energy is transferred from the person and the stick to this game of lacrosse, one living thing to another. I know when I first went to a game, my father was playing. My mother told me to sit there and watch the men play. She said, one day you're going to play lacrosse and you got to learn how, so you sit here and you watch these guys. Realizing the excitement, the power, the energy, it was a magnet. The stick drew me in. Most stick makers don't last as long as I have. And I don't know how long I'm going to last. Our men are buried with their stick. You're not buried with a plastic stick. You're buried with a wooden stick. We play our traditional game with wooden sticks only. And you gotta have the stick to play the game. You gotta have a wooden stick to be buried with. So somebody always has to make sticks. Winter, summer, fall, spring, I make a stick. I love making the stick, every one of them. It took me 50 years to get to this point. I changed this, I changed that, I refined things, and they got even better. And I'm at the point right now where I thought I was 30 years ago, but I wasn't there yet. Hopefully I'm still learning, but I've refined the stick and I'm making a darn good stick now, which I think is good. It's up to my standard anyway. Yeah, my name is Alfred Jock. I'm an Onondaga Turtle Clan. I'm a lacrosse stick maker. This is what I make.
Alf Jock died at the age of 74. In a statement made by producers, the film and his legacy will live on for many sticks to come. We'll be right back.
So I wanted to check in to see how everything was going with your pregnancy too.
Your food choices affect you, it affects your baby, and it affects your family. It's important to have a balanced diet with foods from all of the different food groups. Carbohydrates, water, fats, protein, vitamins, and minerals, all great things for baby. It's going to be 17.5 teaspoons of sugar in 1 can of iced tea.
I'm gonna back off on the Arizona tea for some time.
I really love and enjoy the program. It was an easy connection for us when I first met her. It was just like I could relate. She was welcoming. It made me feel comfortable.
Everybody has different beliefs. What I like about Family Spirit is that it takes that into consideration, honoring their beliefs and their background. For different cultures,
he babbles all the time, and like he'll point to banana and say, "You want banana?" So that's kind of how we communicate and know what he does want and what he doesn't.
As a nonprofit news organization, partnerships make it possible for ICT to cover more Indigenous issues. Together with the Rapid City Journal, ICT has hired Amelia Schaefer as a shared Indigenous affairs reporter. Welcome to the ICT Newscast, Amelia.
Hi, thank you.
Tell our viewers a little bit about yourself and your background.
So I was born and raised in Iowa. I attended Simpson College for my bachelor's, and then I just finished up at Medill, Northwestern University's Medill School of Journalism with my master's in investigative journalism.
And tell us about your position being a shared reporter with this Lee Enterprise newspaper.
Yeah, so I work for both Lee and ICT, and this is new to me because I've never worked as a shared reporter before, but I really like it. I like the access it provides, the resources it provides, and it's really helpful in making connections and meeting new people.
What prompted you to become a journalist to begin with?
So I've always liked writing, but I didn't think journalism was for me until I was working on my bachelor's at Simpson. And one of my professors encouraged me to think about journalism more. So I did, and I ended up taking a class for the school newspaper, which I would later be the editor for. And I ended up realizing that I liked the freedom it gave me to tell stories for other people, to uplift voices, things like that. So I liked that it was a feasible career for me to be able to write in.
I know that you've had a number of bylines so far. Tell us about your favorite stories from the last month.
I think my favorite story was probably the Victory Day Parade. I got to go to the Oglala Lakota Nation, and I visited with the President Frank Starr comes out and some other council members. I got to see the parade, and I got to see other festivities, and it was just a really great welcome to South Dakota because that was one of the first stories that I covered.
I know that parades are also a great place to potentially meet sources. Was that a great place for you to speak with tribal leaders, with elders, with the Native youth?
Yeah, I made some great connections there, and I've come up with some more story ideas off of that. It was really useful for networking, and I think it was just a great introduction to the community here.
As you look forward to more coverage, what kinds of beats or topics generally interest you?
So I am generally interested in more investigative stories. I've previously worked on some investigative stories regarding MMIW and MMIR, and I'm hoping to do that more here. I previously, for my capstone in undergrad, did a story about MMIW in Iowa, where I grew up, and I'd like to do the same thing here. And then I'd also like to get more into other stories regarding justice, the houseless population, things like that here.
Is there anything particularly surprising to you as you've been covering South Dakota so far?
I think just how large it is here. I wasn't realizing just how big the state of South Dakota is. I mean, Iowa's pretty big, but having just lived in Chicago for a year, it's surprising how spread out things are, and also how many communities are here. So far I've only been to Cheyenne River Sioux Tribe and the Oglala Sioux Tribe, but I'm really excited to get to go to the other Native nations and meet more people and just explore more.
Amelia, what are you currently reporting on right now?
So right now, after this, I'm going to be meeting with some local arts leaders from Racing Magpie, and I'm going to be talking about the new Sinew Fund that they have to help support Lakota artists. So that's one of the stories I'm currently working on.
And are you currently speaking to any Native artists? What are they telling you are some of their greatest concerns or greatest needs right now?
Yeah, so a lot of what I'm going to discuss with Racing Magpie afterwards is also changes that may be coming to the Indian Arts and Crafts Act, how that may affect artists and things along that line. So I'm interested to learn more. I'm interested to learn how this could affect the local economy, the statewide economy, things like that, and what this will look like for the future of artists.
Do you plan on covering anything having to do with the government? I know that we are about, a year and some change away from another presidential election. And there, of course, are a number of Native American lawmakers in the state of South Dakota, but maybe talk about political coverage.
Yeah, on the political side of things, I'm still exploring. I haven't done a ton of political reporting. I've delved in a little bit, but I'm excited for seeing how the election pans out, I'm excited to get to talk to more potential leaders and current leaders that are Indigenous and just see how things are going to play out.
Amelia, if you're looking a year from now and you're looking back at all the goals you achieved, what are some of the main ones that you're setting for yourself?
I think that I never really thought I would get my master's degree, so that was really big for me. I was the first person in my family to graduate with a bachelor's and a master's afterwards, so that was pretty huge. I'm excited to, this is my first full-time job, so that's also another really big goal for me that I met. And I think another goal is to carry out some large investigative reports and get really into some investigative pieces here. So I'd say that's one of my big goals for the next year.
Well, Amelia, we can't wait to see all the reporting that you do. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you for having me.
And that's a slice of our Indigenous world. For all the latest, visit ictnews.org. From all of us in the newsroom, stay safe, my relatives.
This program is made possible by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, a private corporation funded by the American people.